I'll be going through the answers quickly, so make sure your course book is open and in front of you, and please stop and rewind the video as you need to. So, got your book open in front of you? Are your answers in capitals? Want to know why the answers are the answers? Then let's go. Question 1, nice easy way to start off this exercise. If we have a look at the language pattern, we can see that we've got an article followed by an adverb, then we've got our gap, then we've got a conjunction and an adjective, and then a noun. So what do we need in this gap? Well, there are a number of clues here. First of all, we know that adverbs modify verbs and they modify adjectives. So the first clue, this might be an adjective. We need something that also helps to modify the noun outlook. Adjectives modify nouns. This is the second clue. The third clue is the language in series. What I mean by that is the language which is joined by the conjunction and. Very often with these word formation exercises, when you have a gap and a conjunction and then another type of word, the chances are the type of word that you need is exactly the same as that word which is on the other side of the conjunction, in this case and that's an adjective. So it's pretty clear that we need an adjective here. So we've got two adjectives that we can form from the stem word. We can either say hopeful, which is a positive form, or we can say hopeless, which is the negative form. Given the context that we're presented with, which one do we need? Of course, it's the positive form, so therefore the answer is hopeful. For question number 2, exactly the same pattern, more or less, than question 1. We've got a series of words joined by a conjunction, which tells us straight away that we need another adjective here. And if we have a look at the stem word, we can easily form the adjective pessimistic, which is our answer. For question number 3, welcome to a very familiar form that we see in these word formation exercises, and that is in followed by a gap. Now when you've got this structure, you're going to need a noun. The only tricky bit might be is if you've got in, gap, and then you've got the noun. In that case you need an adjective. But here if we have a look at the language pattern, it says of course, comma, in, gap, comma, which basically means that we need a noun in this gap. So in what? In this case, in reality. For question number 4, we've got to be a little bit careful here because we've got to pay particular attention to the sentence. If we have a look at the language pattern beforehand, we've got adjective, conjunction, adjective. This is something that we've seen in questions 1 and 2. But we don't have the noun that those adjectives are modifying. So we need a noun here. That much is clear. But we have to pay attention to the rest of the sentence to find out what kind of noun. If we have a look before the adjectives, it says, we are all made up of. The context here is that we need a plural noun, not a singular noun, which is why the answer is characteristics, not characteristic. Question number 5. Once again, something that we've seen in questions 1 and 2 and that we've met again in the question we had a look at. We've got a series of words connected by a conjunction. What do we need here? Of course we need another adjective, but we've got to be careful here because the context tells us that we need the correct form of the adjective. What do I mean? Well, if we have a look at the stem word, we can form two types of adjective. Predictable, the positive form, and unpredictable, which is the negative form. Given the context that we're presented with here, we need the negative form, unpredictable. For question number 6, if we have a look at the language pattern, it says, while we are gap thrill seekers. The gap comes before the noun. This is the first big clue that this needs to be an adjective of some kind. So what kind of thrill seekers are we? We are, of course, adventurous thrill seekers. The idea of an unadventurous thrill seeker is a little bit of an oxymoron. I guess it can exist, but given the context that we're presented with here, this is adventurous. For question number 7, really easy to work out what we need here because we've got an article before the gap, but we don't have the noun to which that article refers. So we need a noun here. All articles need a noun. The key here is to read on further in the text because if we do that, it says our changing moods and situations. So our is a plural pronoun. We've got moods and situations which are plural nouns. So what we need here is another plural noun. So here the answer is differences. Question number 8, once again, not too difficult to work out what we need here. Article before the gap. After the gap, we've got the noun to which the article refers. What we need here is an adjective to modify that noun. So what do we have? We can either say meaningful or we can say meaningless. Which one's more appropriate? Given the context, the answer is, of course, the negative form of the adjective, meaningless.